Hi guys, I am here with a true story. New guidepost book I got. More glimpses of heaven. Inspiring true stories of hope and peace at the end of life's journey. This one is about Donny. Told by Bonnie Morris. It will be okay, Miss Bonnie. You don't have to cry. In the order of things in this world, we know that our children are supposed to outlive us. When some of us find out personally that this is not the case, the pain of that knowledge is truly unbearable. All the hopes and dreams we have for our children are severely challenged, and moment a diagnosis of a life-threatening illness is made, the question of why evolves into hope that treatment somehow will be successful. Days, weeks, and months of pain and struggle are intermingled with prayers, and sometimes things get better, and sometimes they do not. The journey can take years, but sometimes it is only months, weeks, or days. In some cases, the day arrives when the doctor can do no more and recommends a hospice program to support and comfort the child and his family. It is more than difficult for families to realize that their precious child's journey is ending. A children's hospice program is specifically structured to help meet the many and varied needs of the entire family. Moms, dads, sisters, brothers, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins all need help and encouragement. Of course, there are actual physical needs of the child, and pain control is often a large part of that concern. The family may need help with tasks such as getting groceries or helping dad find a different job that will give him greater flexibility in caring for the family. Brothers or sisters may feel left out because so much attention is directed toward the sick child. The pediatric hospice team, which includes a pediatric physician, nurse, social worker, chaplain, and volunteer, becomes an integral part of the family's greater structure. Together they act as a support team, surrounding the entire family. This support system is a very real expression of God's hand as He moves to help the family through a time He knows is not going to be easy. No matter what your religious faith, dying is a spiritual journey. To me, there is no one in whom this experience can be seen more clearly than in a child. From the youngest child to the oldest teenager, each has their own way of making this journey. The very young exhibit a total confidence and lack of fear. The older ones seem to have more concerns, but most of these concerns involve their parents and how they will get along without them. Children usually do not talk differently about dying. But if you listen closely, you will hear many clues that tell you they are aware of their journey in a unique way. They tend to look at their world on a day-to-day basis, often sharing even their future dreams with you. This sharing allows you to enter their inner world of both today and tomorrow and walk this intimate and final journey with them. There is no magical formula for this process. It simply requires prayer for the Holy Spirit's direction and quiet listening to His voice. Each child and family in my care has deeply affected my life in unique ways, and I will be forever grateful to them for allowing me to share in this difficult but precious time in their lives. When I think of all of them, The memories are mingled with laughter and tears, sadness and great joy. It was difficult to let each child go when the time came for them to die. I prayed frequently and with passion for God to keep them with their families, and when the end of their lives was near, I prayed for all of us to let them go and send them off with the knowledge that God would look out for everyone they loved. One of the youngest in my care was a little 3-year-old named Donny. He had been diagnosed with leukemia, and the children's tumor clinic at the hospital referred Donny and his family to us when all his treatment options had been exhausted. All of the referrals coming to us from the tumor clinic were made with a heavy heart. Calling in hospice meant that these precious lives were now coming to the last stage of their journey. It was difficult for everyone to accept this reality, and physicians often suffer the most. Over the period of treatment, pediatric oncologists become close to the children and families they serve. Often when the child dies, they feel they have somehow failed, which is not the case, but a very human response nonetheless. They trust hospice to share and support in this last period of time for the child and family, and it is indeed a most precious trust they bestow on us. My journey with my new young friend and his family began in a way I will never forget. I had probably spent only 10 or 15 minutes with Donny when he explained to me casually that Jesus came to visit him sometimes. I asked him what he and Jesus did when he visited. Donny looked at me with smiling eyes and announced that they played together and that Jesus told him everything would be fine. I was not Donny's regular nurse, so I did not get to see him on a weekly basis. I did get to see him when he and his mother and older brother visited the tumor clinic at the hospital. The staff there knew what a joy this young child was to everyone, so they frequently called me to say he would be coming for a checkup. Sometimes, too, Donny and his family would cross the street to my hospice office, and we would spend time together. I had many stuffed animals around my desk, and sometimes we would all wind up sitting on the floor playing with them. A very large bear sat in the corner of my crowded office, and I always found it interesting that it was the parents who would go to that bear and find themselves curled up in its lap. We never get too old to need love and assurance. That's for sure. The tumor clinic continued to treat Donny, while hospice supported him through all the inevitable changes that were happening to him. Then a phone call one morning announced that treatment was just not working and would be stopped. Time was running out for my bright-eyed friend. With a heavy heart, I walked across the street to the tumor clinic. Everyone had their professional behavior in place. The family needed help at this moment, but it was painful for everyone who had loved and cared for them. My young friend and I went out into a large hallway of the hospital, and he motioned for me to crawl under one of the benches with him. He was excited and wanted me to know that Jesus came to visit him all the time now. We talked a little about this, and he made it clear that Jesus wanted him to know that his mom and dad and brother would all be okay. In his special 3-year-old vocabulary, he said that Jesus wanted him to know that on one of his visits, he would take Donny with him into heaven, and Donny was very excited about that. I let him know that when Jesus came for him, he should take Jesus' hand and go with him. I tried to tell him in terms a 3-year-old could understand, that all of us would take special care to look after his family. We all would miss him very much, but we would see him again someday. At this point, tears were rolling down my face. My young friend reached over, wiped my tears, and assured me, "It will be okay, Miss Bonnie. You don't have to cry." That was the last time I saw Donny. He blessed my life in a way that has no words. I will never forget the joy and total trusting faith he exhibited to all of us. When people ask me about faith and the reality of Jesus Christ, I have only to think of Donny and share this simple but eloquent message with them. Good night, guys.